name, that's Sam Law. Hear myself when I hear y'all talk. See my kicks when I see y'all walk. Flex on me, y'all ain't strong. Say my name, that's Sam Law. Still on top, yeah, it's been that long. They won't know till I say I'm gone. They won't know, they won't know. Say my name, that's Sam Law. Hear myself when I hear y'all talk. See my kicks when I see y'all walk. Flex on me, y'all ain't strong. Say my name, that's Sam Law. Still on top, yeah, it's been that long. They won't know till I say I'm gone. They won't know, they won't know. Say my name.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam Law, and I want to welcome you today to the That Sam Law Show. My guest today is Verdel Jones. She is an educator turned author, media host, nonprofit founder, a mom, auntie to us young people. She does it all, and I mean it all, and she does it with her family and friends. And listen, I'm one of those people that's privileged to have a good time with her family. So I just want to welcome her to the show. Verdel, tell everyone about yourself.
Thank you so much, Sam, for having me on. I'm very excited and looking forward to our conversation. As you said, first and foremost, I am the child of Bobby and Shirley Gadsden. I hold my parents in very high esteem, and I want to make sure that I give them that shout out because their, family is so important to me. And at the core of everything I do, it's about family. I'm also a wife, and I'm a mother, and I've been an educator for over 30 years. Newly retired. I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
And all throughout my career, I've always found a way to do other things. And I think that's from my parents probably. They're the same way. And so I've been a business owner and, like you said, a nonprofit I have called Share, Inform, Enlighten. And I'm also a talk show host. And I've been doing that for years because I do love sharing information. It's that educator in me that wants me to do that. So, that's a little bit about me. I'm sure we'll get into some more.
We are going to dive in. Listen, I've been a guest on her talk show twice.
Yes.
The first time was an amazing experience. The second time was even better. When you watch somebody and you just see all their growth over the years, you're just like, wow, she's got that it factor. And you just it's just a good time. There's snacks. I don't have snacks on my show. There's snacks. Shout out to her parents. Her mom can cook.
Facts upon fact.
And her dad is all about just fun and family, talks good game with sports. Like, it's just always a vibe with the Joneses and the Gadsden family. Yes, it's just always a vibe. Her daughter is one of my dearest friends. Maya, she is the sweetest. I'm going to shout her out. She owns Shades of Long Island. She works over at News 12. She is going to be one of the future media moguls to look out for. Look out for her. Listen, I just want to dive into, we're just going to talk about your reinvention, realness, and riding the rhythm of life after education. So you recently spent over 30 years as an educator, and that role really shaped your identity. What was the emotional shift like stepping away from that chapter, and how did you redefine yourself afterwards?
Yeah. So as you said, I was in education for over 30 years. I started out as a business teacher, then I went to be a school counselor, and then for 19 years, I was the district director of guidance for a school on Long Island. And as you can imagine, being an educator, it's really who you are. It's, everybody has a job or a career, and I think I embody being an educator because the way that I go through life, I always want to make sure people are learning something. I'm sharing information. I don't know everything. That's why I like to hear from other people. And once I get that information, I like to share it with others. I think that's so important. So leaving out of education, when I say I was in it for 30 years, that's not true. I was in it since I was in preschool.
Right.
So the fact that I have never not been in school was a little bit daunting to me. And when I came to the realization that I was retiring, I was driving home from work and before I retired, and I saw these children getting out of their school bus. And it was like the end of school because I worked through the summer. And something like came over me that I'm not going to be connected to a school in that way. I'm not going to see kids get off the bus. I'm not going to hear kids in the hallway. And I was very overwhelmed and a little bit, I started crying in my car because it embodies who I am. But what I had to realize is that there's a whole nother chapter, something more that I can do, and I can still have those tenets of being an educator, focusing and have that focus and the work moving forward. So in this new journey, in this new chapter. So I had to come to grips with that. And I miss the people that I work with because I created, I love my family. I created a family atmosphere in my office.
Right.
It was, people felt comfortable coming to work because they knew that no matter what, if they had something to do with their family, you go do it. So I was really, I had to come to grips with that, but I can see those people whenever I want. That's the other thing. So yeah. So it was a little bit of a challenge.
I hear that. That's definitely. I don't think we talk about grief and loss in retirement. Like we're so excited about the next phase that sometimes we don't talk about like that grieving process and what that might be like. Like life is really about to shift and change. Of course, it's for the better. You get some vacations, you get to relax, you get to see people when you want to see
That's
them.
right.
But I'm glad you really touched on that. I've had the pleasure of learning from you and watching people that you bring on and being like, oh, and then meeting them in real time and being like, oh, this person does that, this person does this. And I'm really grateful to the way you educate all of us in the community and you stepped into all these different endeavors. You really are like a one-woman show. You got the nonprofit, you have a show, you had a show with your family for a couple of years, keeping
years,
up with the Joneses. I just don't know how you do it. You really are a one-woman media empire. And what is your secret to juggling all that? What do people never see like behind the scenes?
So I do have a great family who, anything that I say I want to do, they're mostly supportive. But I have, Maya is always like, yeah, Mom, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. And then my husband and my son, Marcus, they're like, look, slow your roll. So I have checks and balances in my life, which is good because you need that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't realize how much I actually was doing while I was working. I was working a full-time job and doing and it was a serious job, I could say. And I was doing all these other things outside of it. Now I'm retired, so I don't have that job anymore, but I realized, man, I was doing a lot. My husband might say I was doing too much.
Mm-hmm. He definitely would. Shout out to Jeremiah. He definitely would.
But it's about planning and setting your priorities as well. We are big planners as a whole, and I think it's very important to be intentional in the things that you want to do and the things you don't want to do. So that's really how I kind of manage my time and set priorities, and then ask for help. Mm-hmm. I leaned on my family on their strengths. When we're doing our family show, my son is a film editor, Maya's a journalist. So it was easy for them to step into those roles and really help and do the things that needed to be done. And just having the resources, being able to have the resources to do what you need to do sometimes is a challenge as well.
Right.
Because it can be an expensive endeavor.
What?
And
it is.
So, some of the struggles are, the stressing about, okay, I really want to do this. How am I going to do it? Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that we have to talk about as a family to make sure that we could actually do the things that we set out to do. So that really is a challenge at some point in time. Well, always.
Right. So you're the big idea person in your family, and they help you keep you grounded and execute.
The grounding part is so important because when you are an idea person, I liken myself to like the Honeymooners. I don't know if you ever seen Ralph Cramden.
I can totally see that.
Right, that's who I am, in some ways. So I'm happy that I have people that will say, look, chill. So yeah, those are the kind of struggles too.
funny. I literally was talking to my boyfriend about the honeymooners, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I was talking about Ralph and Alice. And Alice would be like, listen, you going too far.
You're doing too much.
Dial it back. But he always had like these great ideas. And if he didn't have her and he didn't have his friend, what was his friend's name?
Ralph, Ed.
What
was his name?
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton.
Yeah,
Ed Norton.
Ed,
Right.
and Ed's wife, like, he might have gone a little too
That's
far.
right. Exactly.
So
you need that. You need
team.
that balance. You need someone to say you're doing too much, because what happens is they see you stressing, they see you struggling, they see that, and they don't want that for you. So it's nice for them to be able to feel comfortable and trust in the fact that they can say these things to you to kind of reel you in a little bit.
That's excellent. I know, in our private time, I'm not going to dive into like more of the things that you plan on pursuing, but till you're ready. But sometimes when I'm sitting with you and we're, I'm at your house and we're eating your mom's good cooking and you're good cooking, and you start telling me things you're about to do next, I'm like, how? Like, when I found out you retired, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? When? You were like, the last year. I was like, how did I miss this? You were very quiet, like, about it. You were very, very quiet about it. And I was just like, really? Because I'm so used to seeing you do it all. But I do appreciate that you did take that step, and now that you're going after what it is you really want to do. And I think one of those things that I really admire about you is like you started things that have purpose, but they also lead to profit. So I know you're a business teacher. I just found that out today. How did you learn to monetize what you love without compromising your mission?
Oh boy, I think that is really, really a challenge, because I had an individual on my show not that long ago, and that was one of the things I asked her, because she is about community, and it was like, I need to know, how do you manage both of those things? Because you want to be able to give people an opportunity, you want to share information, but sometimes and get, because there's some people out there that have some great things that they need to share, but being able to ask the question, look, how can I monetize this, and what is a fair amount? And I think it really comes down to knowing what your worth is and what value you bring to the table. And we get sometimes caught up in that, especially when you're an educator and you that is what you're supposed to do. You really have to find a way to figure out, well, what is my worth, and really stand on that. And sometimes that could be a struggle. So you really, your time is important.
That's true.
And I think people need to recognize that. Not only people, but you need to recognize that as well. So I think that's kind of the balance that I strike. Sometimes it doesn't go the way that I want it to, but it's a continual work in progress to get that and to make that happen. No,
it's true. I think about, I have a background in sales for, over 10 years, probably like 14, 15 years of sales background. And one of the things I had to learn quick was to like really close, and it's not always easy when you have a big heart to ask for the dollar.
Right.
It's really not.
And it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But it is.
It gets like that. Yeah. You're like, I'm so excited to educate. I'm so excited to do this. I'm so excited to give back. But wait a minute. I can't dip into my funds for my mortgage or my rent or my family to do all that. I got to ask for the dollar. I got to close that sale. So
that's right.
I admire that you do that. A lot of things I've learned, I might not be up underneath you all the time, but I did learn a lot watching you and watching your family. So I appreciate, how you move as a businesswoman. One of the things that you guys are a cut above the rest on. I got to say, shout out John Bell, because he is also a cut above the rest when it comes to this. We're going to get back to him later. It's social media. You guys got it down pat. Yeah, she got some young people on her team, but you got it down pat. Oh. It's really a necessary beast in business. A lot, I know you didn't really grow up. I know you didn't grow up with it. I'm not going to say your age, but I know you didn't grow up with it. I came in a time where it just arrived, and I'm your little sister. I'm a little younger. So, It just arrived. And what do you think you've been really successful at it, but what has been your biggest challenge with it, and how do you stay authentic online?
I think the consistency part is a struggle. And there's so much noise in the social media world, right? So, and there's certain things you should do and certain things you shouldn't do, and you need to post on this time. And sometimes I just have to say, you know what? I'm going to post the things that I think are appropriate, that are match my brand, so to speak. And I don't get involved in the nonsense of it. And if I keep the focus on, the business aspect of it, whether it be the talk show or whether it be the nonprofit, that's the way I try to keep it. There's some things that I probably should do more of, but I don't get really caught. Like I should do more lives, but I don't get caught up in that.
Right.
I think it's just important to try to get the information out to people in a way that is comfortable for me. And then I set a routine. Okay, I need to do this on Tuesday and this on Thursday. And, just as most people do with their social media,
I don't do that.
Yeah, right.
I am not that disciplined. I need to be. But
you have to set up a routine. And then also leaning in on, Maya, my daughter. She does help me with that a lot. As far as like sharing and all that, because I don't do any of that stuff.
Right.
But she does that for me. So there's certain things that I could do well. I can whip up a graphic like that. She can share, and she can get the word out a little bit better. And as far as YouTube, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've really been focusing on too, is making sure that I get eyes on the content,
right,
with the appropriate people.
I know you were asking me about some of the things I utilize on YouTube, and I suggested vidIQ. Did you try it? How's that working out for you?
vidIQ, it seems to work pretty well. I really, really started leaning into it when I first relaunched Conversations with Verdel Jones, and it gave me insight that I wasn't really aware of.
Right.
So I love that part of it, and I've made some changes based on that, and it's worked out pretty well.
I love it. You're one of the first people that that I'm close to that really asked me like, what do you use? And I said, you know what? Honestly, changed the game for me. It was vidIQ. It was, and I'm not just saying that because they're not a sponsor of the show. So don't get me wrong. But I really learned a lot about like what to write as titles or whatever. And another one that I use, because I don't think we really talk about what keeps us in a digital age, is ChatGPT.
Oh.
That's one of my besties. Listen, Dr. Sabrina Oliver, shout out to her. She's a part of, Maya's on the board of this organization. What is it called in Plainview? ListNet. Yeah. So Sabrina Oliver is a big part of ListNet. They're a big technology firm. They run Digital Ballpark in Plainview. And she was telling me, talk to your ChatGPT AI, give it a name, give it a personality, like have conversations with it like it's your friend, and it will learn so much about you. And once I did that, like for my business, for the show, just for things like I'm just going through whatever, Lord have mercy, the whole world opened up. I know some people, are a little leery about it, and there's, especially if you work in a business like I do, where there's PHI, you have to be careful about what you put in there. PHI is private health information, or personal health information, but you just kind of gotta like use the tools. Absolutely. That'll keep you relevant. That'll keep you acclimated to this digital age.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Melanie Stephen, and I'm the Area Manager of Business Development for Allegiant Home Care. We are a licensed home care agency in New York, Florida, and Georgia. We service all of Long Island and all of the boroughs with certified home health aides. All of our nurses are full-time employees and become your manager of clinical practice. The activities of daily living that we can help you with are bathing, grooming, dressing, toileting, meal preparation, light housekeeping, personal laundry, hydration and medication reminders, as well as prompting and other tasks that you may need done in your home. Our main goal is to keep you safe while maintaining your dignity in any setting, whether it be an assisted living, private residence, skilled nursing facility, or anywhere you call home. For more information, please reach out to 516-385-2836.
Diving back, we're going to talk about, you talked about Maya and how she's good at sharing. So that like, and your husband and your son being a part of your support system.
Yes.
How has that unwavering family support really impacted your ability to grow and take risk in business?
I wouldn't be able to do anything without their support. Because, I have these ideas and I want to do certain things, but there is accountability to my family. Jeremiah is, he's protective of his family, as he should be.
Right.
And
Papa Bear.
That's right. So I want to make sure that I honor that and get permission is because I don't ask permission, but I do share,
right.
and I get feedback. So the only way that I would be able to be successful in anything I do, even when it goes to my career, I went to college. He was in the military. Jeremiah was in the military, and I went to school. He worked. I went, and I went to school, and I got my all these degrees, and he was cheering me on. So he was a great support and encouraged me to do those things. Sometimes you hear that men don't want to support women in their endeavors.
Talk about it.
And 100%, he's like, yeah, because you know what? Because it's for the family.
It's for the tribe, yeah.
That's right. So being blessed and fortunate that I picked the right guy and he picked me at such an early age.
Yeah. What did you say? Like 14?
14 and 16,
what?
yeah. We just lucked up, right?
Yeah.
But he's so supportive, and my family is supportive. My parents, my brother, they just, my good friends, they just are behind me 1,000%. And I think that is the encouragement that I need. And also, it's the why.
Right. I think about you and Jeremiah and you guys getting together and your offspring. The genetics there is just crazy. Like someone had said to me years ago, this person that was in my life briefly, they said, who you pick as a partner to reproduce with is very important because their genes are going to show up later, you know? And you want to make sure that you pick people that are going to be built to survive tough times, because that's going to come through in your children.
Absolutely.
They're going to learn, they're going to mirror, and they're already going to be predisposed to moving in the way that you move, And Maya and Marcus are, today's the first time I realized that both their names start with M.
That was intentional.
No, I see it. I know you for the longest, and that's the first time I realized it. They really just embody you two perfectly. Like they each look like one of you. They each just act like one of you. It's so dope to see. Another thing is, like, I've met your best friend, and the way she supports you and her family supports you it's powerful, and it drives me to pick the right people in my life.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
That's all right.
But you remember when I was with my last partner, and I was hurting and I was going through things. I didn't have that support while I was in grad school. I was, belittled at times and put down about what I was doing. But then my next partner he is such a force. We fight, we have our stuff, but when he's behind me, he's behind me 1,001%. And I really watched that about you and Jeremiah and said, I need that. Like that was in my Sierra prayer for Sierra Russell Wilson. Yeah. That was in my Sierra prayer, that whoever God put in my life next, that he was like that we had that magic. And I'm grateful to witness that. I really am. So I think right now we're going to take a little break. I want to shout out our sponsor, John Bell, and of the Bell Law Group. And here's a quick little promo from him.
John Bell from the Bell Law Group here. Happy to be a sponsor of Sam Law. I know Samantha Lawson for many years now. We do employment and personal injury. We have 20 attorneys. Main office here is in Syosset, Long Island. We also have offices in Staten Island and Albany. So please contact us if you have a good personal injury case, a good employment case. We're happy to hear about it. We don't take a ton of cases. We're very selective. So if you do feel like you have a good case, we're the perfect attorneys for you.
At the break, we wrapped up with talking about, your support system. I want to dive into the next movement with you. Like, what's next? I know you got this upcoming Write, Rhyme, Recite Collective. It's more than grief and beats, rhymes and fundraising. Why do these events matter now?
So the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective, this will be our 5th year having this event. And it is through our nonprofit, Share, Inform, Enlighten. And the real mission of Share, Inform, Enlighten is to provide, again, those resources to enhance professional and personal lives of individuals. The Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective goes into enhancing, just taking it a step further in the sense of bringing in resources or experiences for people on the creative side. Literacy is also a part of Share, Inform, Enlighten as well. So as a result, we have a Poetry Slam scholarship for students. We've awarded $16,700 so far. Thank you.
That's excellent.
Thank you. So this is an event we have every year. So we'll have poetry at this event. We'll have professional poets actually speaking. We will give the also the scholarships. And this year we're adding something a little bit additionally. We're having a panel discussion. And the panel discussion is about representation and storytelling and the importance of telling our stories. In the tradition of griot, storytelling is key to keeping those traditions alive, so it's not erased.
Can you explain what griot is real quick to our audience?
So it's an African tradition. The griot is the person who tells the stories of whether it be their family, their community. And in keeping in that spirit, I think it's important because you have the internet, you have newspapers, you have all of that, but that first-hand account of people's experiences is so important. And the representation in the stories, whether it be media, film, or whatever, is important as well. And in that griot fashion, an experience comes to mind. I was talking to my father, one day, and I was asking him, what was it like for you to grow up in Jim Crow South? And here's a person who actually had to go to a colored restroom. What was that experience like for you? These are the stories that we want to share and tell, because it might be in a book, but who knows where those books might go.
Right.
So I want to be able to tell my children and my children to tell their children, this was my father's experience. Then I asked my mother, she grew up in Brooklyn. She told a story of her going to the South when she was younger and seeing like this phenomenon of Jim Crow and how it made her feel. So these are experiences and stories that I think need to be passed along, and that's in our griot tradition. And in every culture, I'm sure there's something that's called that. And the power of storytelling is so important. So that's one of the things we're going to be talking about. So I have an author that's on the panel. I have a journalist that's on a panel. I have a historian who's on a panel, and a filmmaker. So that's going to be awesome, and that's important. And I think it's just bringing that content and those experiences, and it runs the gamut. We're talking about all of our cultures because it's very important for us to know about other individuals as well.
So I want to dive into, when is this event going to be and where? Tell us all the details.
Sure. So this event is going to be June 6th, and it's going to be at the Long Island Art League, which is in Dix Hills. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space. It's actually an art gallery. We're going to have past hors d'oeuvres. We're going to have the panel discussion. We're going to have poets. We're going to have authors. So yeah, it's going to be really great, and I'm very, very excited. We're also going to have headshots. So if anybody's interested in getting a headshot, I can't tell you how many people that I have on my show, and I say, "Can you give me a headshot?"
They don't have it,
and it's a selfie. I'm like, "What are you doing? You're a professional." So we're going to have the opportunity for people to get headshots as well.
That is so important. I appreciate that. I really do. You always put together such amazing things. And I know you have something else coming up in, was it August?
Mm-hmm.
Tell
August
us about
1st.
that.
So August 1st, we are going to have our old school hip hop party. It's a fundraiser for Share, Inform, Enlighten. And Chubb Rock is going to be there. He's going to be performing. We also have an individual who did a documentary about the history of hip hop on Long Island. So he'll be showing his trailer there as well.
Nice.
It's a dance party. Dance party, cash bar, a little bit of food, and just a really good time. And Chubb Rock,
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to all these events. We're going to post the flyers up. Make sure you see them. We're going to share everything about this event.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. It's crazy. I remember
stuff.
when you started your nonprofit, you were talking about it and just the process and everything. And what I love about Verdel is, like, right now she's all calm, cool, and collected, but when something get on her nerves, you could just see it. And it was a process, but you stood strong through it, and just seeing the fruits of your labor, it's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
So beyond the brand, we have joy for joy's sake. Your life is filled with so much purpose, but what does personal joy look like for you these days?
Just kicking back with my family, having fun, being, being silly sometimes, and just, I enjoy, sometimes I just sit back and I'm smiling because I'm very happy and blessed. I'm crying because I'm very happy and blessed. At times, what is that song? At times you may be crying when nothing's even wrong. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eyes on the sparrow. I know he watches me. That's how I feel right now. God has blessed me. My parents got to see me retire. I saw them, they retired young also.
A blessing.
Yeah, a blessing. I'm just waiting for grandchildren. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, even though she's your grandniece, I always say you can watch my baby girl whenever you want to. I read her one of the books you bought her the other day, and she was just like looking, and it was just nice. I appreciate you, but she's always available until it's their time. Marcus is up first.
He's up first. He's up first. That's right.
He is. Marcus, every time I see him, I'm like, so how's the dating scene going? He's like, it's going. He's very quiet.
He is.
About it. But I can't wait to see what you do with the I know it's not really free time because you do so much, but the free time that you do have, I can't wait to see what you do and sit at your house in the summer, watch movies in the backyard. Of course, eat the food. I keep raving about the food, but it's that good. Her mom has taught me like little tips and tricks every time I come over. The one thing though, I'm going to bring this up, Maya. The next time you get some of your grandma's banana bread?
Banana bread, yes.
I want a piece because you can't get a piece from mine. It's like, absolutely not. But no, this time I want a piece.
Piece of banana. Got it. Got it.
So our fun question for you today is, if your life had a theme song right now, it could be an old school hip hop track. It doesn't have to be. What would be playing when you walk in the room and why that song?
Golden. Jill Scott.
Living my life like it's golden.
Yes.
I can't sing, y'all.
Absolutely. Living my life like it's golden. That really is my theme song. You know why? Because I don't want to sound like everything in my life is always roses and all that. There's challenges. But at the end of the day, I have been so blessed, even through the heartache. And there's been some heartache. I told you, we were married. I was 19 when I got married, and Jeremiah was 20 going on 21, right? So, in that long period of time, there's going to be some struggles.
Yeah.
There's health struggles. There's deaths that occur.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm good. There's this thing called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? My goal, when I first learned that, I'm like, I want to be self-actualized. Okay?
Amen.
And I feel at this point in my life, I'm self-actualized. I know what I've done, and I know what I'm going to do, and I know how I've made an impact in this world. So I'm good. I'm living my life like it's golden.
Amen. It's funny when you said that, it made me think of a song. It's a gospel song where it's like, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand.
Yes.
No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. And to me, looking up to you, looking up to everything that you've accomplished, you are a hero of mine. I'm going to tell you that to your face. I'm going to give you your flowers. I love you, love you, love you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you, and I just can't wait for this next chapter. I'm excited about it. What is something, first, where can we find you in all of your work?
So you can find me, let's see, where can you find me? So you can visit my website. Can I look at this camera here? Okay. So you can find me, my website is shareinformenlighten.org. All of the events that we have upcoming are on my website. You can also find my talk show, Conversations with Verdel Jones, on YouTube, and as well as Facebook, Conversations with Verdel Jones. And if you want to follow me on IG, it's Verdel_Jones. And I think that's about it.
All right. So give my audience something to take away from this beautiful next chapter that you're about to embark on.
I would say, if I had any advice for people, is to live authentic. I think that's so important. A lot of times we don't step out on who we are, and we don't show up that way. And if I know anything, I know that at a certain point in time, you're going to have to face that. So you might as well start liking and loving yourself right now, and just be intentional in what you want to accomplish in life. I think that is very important as well. Being intentional, having a plan. If you're going to say something, do it, stand on business. I think that's really what has helped me a lot in life. Just standing on it. Don't run from it.
Amen.
Run to it.
Run to it. Run to that destination.
Yeah.
Yes. Please, there's so much waiting for you. Listen, go grab on to that next big thing that you want to do. Don't stop. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Start the process now. Even while you're working your job, Verdel did it. You can do it too. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to the That Sam Law Show.